Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well. It is my privilege to welcome you to this webinar that is hosted by TechSoup Kenya on Microsoft Cloud subscriptions. We are so happy to have you here. And just before we start, I'd kindly just like to ask us to take a few minutes to just on the chats, just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, which organization you represent, so that we could know you better even as we continue with the session. I have seen two people have given their feedback. So even as I read what they have said, kindly just feel free to introduce yourself, tell us what your name is and the organization that you represent. So I have Immaculate. Immaculate was the first person to respond. And she says, good morning, everyone. I am Immaculate Saloen, Community Initiatives Agenda. Happy to be here to learn. Thank you, TechSoup. Thank you, Immaculate. We are so glad to have you. We also have greetings from Boniface, our communications manager at KCDF, who says welcome. We have Bahati, who says, good morning, everyone. I am Bahati Karashani from Tanzania, Health Promotion Support. Welcome so much, Bahati. We have Nancy Ndungu, who says good morning, and she's from Don Bosco Tech Africa. Welcome so much. We have Kennedy. Kennedy says greetings. He's from Flying Doctors Society of Africa, and he's here to learn. Thank you so much, Kennedy. We welcome you. We have Eliud Akanga, who says, hello, everyone. Maury says, hello, all. We have Amos Ireri, who says, good morning, and he's from Kenya, Kitale. We have Maureen Angia, who says, good morning. He's an app manager, One Acre Fund, Kenya. Welcome so much, Maureen. We have Faith To, who says, good morning, and she's the regional IT manager from Village Enterprise. Welcome so much. We have, so Eliud is from TYSA in Kitale. Welcome so much. We have Ezron Kiptalam, and he says, good morning, all of us. This is Hezron Kiptalam from, wow, that's an interesting word. Ecumenical Pharmaceutical Network. Looking forward to learning more. Thank you, all of you, for just taking a minute to introduce yourself. Am I looking out anyone? Anyone who has not introduced themselves to us? If I'm looking you out, just feel free to share in the chats. Tell us good morning, which organization you represent. This is a good opportunity for us in this webinar to also just interact, network, and get to know other organizations that are doing similar things, or, you know, you could be partners in the future, who knows. So we have Maurice. He's Maurice Kangede from Powerland Project in Nairobi, Kenya. Looking forward to great insights. Thank you so much, Maurice. And without further ado, even as the webinar continues, once you join us, just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, tell us which organization you represent, and we'll be so glad to know you better. Vincent, hi Vincent, thank you for joining us. It is my opportunity now so that we can move on to start the webinar. It's my opportunity to welcome Boniface Mutinda, who is the communications manager at KCDF and the lead for the TechSoup program. Boniface, welcome so much, and give us your opening remarks.
Excellent. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for a good job. Well done for inviting us and just doing this warm welcome. I think all of us are feeling excited. It's a Friday morning. It's exciting to see all of you guys joining us from across East Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi, all the way to Ethiopia. Thank you so much, guys, and welcome. We are so excited, and we are very much happy to see you here. It's a Friday morning. No much is happening except just joining into this webinar for us to learn, interact. And as Sarah has mentioned, please keep on putting your address on the chat. Tell us your name, your organization, and possibly even your social media contacts. We'll be more than glad just to connect and to follow you and to see what you're doing. Even put up your website Yeah, I'll be more than glad to know what you're doing. So karibuni, karibuni sana. Karibuni is the Swahili word for welcome. And we are saying welcome into today's webinar. We are so excited to have you. You remember last week, on the other time we had this webinar, it fell on a Friday. And of course, we missed some of you. We missed you guys, but don't worry. Today we are going to do just a bit of recap of what we touched on, and then we shall also bring in the new content that we have in this time round. So once again, welcome. Just to introduce myself, my name is Boniface Mutinda. I am the communications manager at KCDF, and I'll be telling you more about KCDF in a bit. At the same time, I'm the TechSoup lead at and in the East Africa region, looking at Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi. And we are very much excited just to host you into this webinar to tell you more about ourselves. KCDF means Kenya Community Development Foundation. And this is a foundation that was established in the year 1997. And we have built a very strong basis for community development approach. What we do is we work closely with communities just to identify some of the challenges that you could be facing or they are facing. And then we come up with solutions that we can jointly work together, to tackle some of these challenges. And one of those, and we do this through many ways, and one of these ways is actually through TechSoup Kenya. And TechSoup Kenya is a technology discounted and donation program for non-profits, for religious institutions, and that's why you're here with us this morning. And through TechSoup Kenya, you are able to access genuine softwares, genuine technology solutions at a very discounted price. And of course, that is why we are here this morning, because we're going to tell you more about what we are offering and how you can actually be able to take advantage of these products and services, and how your organization can actually be able to benefit and scale up and even move to the next level. Today, we have a very, very exciting session for you. We have a great guy who's going to take us through Microsoft products and how just this can be able to be of benefit to your organization. So for me is to warmly welcome you and tell you, please feel free to share your questions on the Q&A session, share your messages in the chat section, and I'll be more than glad to respond and to interact with all of you. Karibuni sana. And without much further ado, allow me to welcome our guest trainer today, Mr. Alex. Is going to introduce himself and he will pick it up from here. Thank you very much and welcome, Alex.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Boniface. Sorry for that. I'm having just a small issue with my presentation, but I'm going to present right away. So by way of introduction, my name is Alex Mwinde. Like Boniface has mentioned here, I work as an administrator, cloud administrator at TechSoup Africa. I am also an expert in matters of the cloud. I've been working with different cloud solutions or technologies, I think now for almost a decade, and I've been able to help numerous organizations, to leverage the power of the cloud and also cloud computing to be able to streamline their operations, improve their collaboration and productivity, and also achieve their goals. So it's good to see you here today, this morning. I believe some of you met during the last webinar. But it's always good to see you. Hopefully, you will be able to learn a thing or two before the webinar is completed. So, like Boniface mentioned, today we'll be focusing or exploring what the cloud is. So I know most of you have heard about the term cloud, or you've been hearing about cloud computing, moving to the cloud, and all that. So we're just going to demystify what the cloud is, discuss the exciting world of Microsoft 365, and also delve into the cloud solutions that it has to offer. We're going to talk about the benefits of the cloud, the licensing options that you have available for you as a nonprofit or for you as an organization. So whether you're an organization owner or you're an organization decision maker, IT professional, an employee like a normal user, we really hope, or rather I hope that this webinar will be, at least informative and engaging for you. So without further ado, I'd just like to maybe just briefly recap on what we talked about last time. So during the last webinar, we saw what Microsoft Cloud is. We also discussed the various packages that Microsoft has to offer. So we didn't really get into details about the Microsoft packages. So today is the day that we're going to go a little bit deeper onto that, just to sort of clear out some questions you had last time, and also for the new guys, also for them to be able to understand some of the solutions that Microsoft has to offer. So we saw how Microsoft comes in to help people in terms of securing the environment, securing remote work, and also being able to collaborate with each other. So all that, or whatever we presented last time is probably, or rather today we are going to be sort of recapping that as we go along. So you're going to see some content that you saw last time, also some new content, but today mostly it will be just cloud-based. So I hope this webinar will be able to equip you with the knowledge and resources that you need, and you'll be able to leverage on cloud computing technology for your organization. So today we'll be, like I mentioned, we'll be covering a few items. So I know many organizations are still unsure or not so certain about what the cloud is and how it can benefit your organization. So our focus will be trying to understand what the cloud is, its benefits, and debunking some of the common misconceptions about the cloud. We'll also provide an overview of the cloud, and also additionally discuss the benefits of moving to the cloud, including things like scalability, cost savings, collaboration, and also going through some, of course, some misconceptions. Then our second focus area will be on the Microsoft Cloud solutions. So these are the solutions that are available through TechSoup for eligible nonprofits. Microsoft offers a range of solutions, cloud-based solutions, as well as on-premises solutions. So we'll provide an overview of these solutions and discuss their benefits for nonprofits as well. We understand that selecting appropriate cloud solutions for your nonprofits might sometimes be a challenge. So therefore, our third focus area will be on providing guidance, on how to select your cloud service provider. Some of the factors to consider when choosing your cloud solutions. Mentioning things including your size, your budget, your IT resources at your disposal, and also providing you with tips on how to evaluate different solutions and select the best that fit your organizations. Finally, we are going to provide you with a step-to-step guide or instructions on how to access the TechSoup cloud-based products. So we'll go through the registration process and also walk you through how to request and how to access the cloud-based solutions available through TechSoup. Right, so I believe we can get started, and I always like to just briefly discuss what some of the challenges that nonprofits face before we can actually get the content. So small and medium nonprofit organizations usually face a number of technology challenges that ideally can impact how they, their ability to operate and work efficiently and effectively. So some of the challenges that organizations face include, things like limited budgets, where nonprofits have, most of the nonprofits have limited budgets for technology, which ideally, or consequently can make it difficult to invest in the tools and infrastructure needed to support their operations. Organizations also have things like, outdated technology, where many nonprofits usually rely on, of course, outdated technology, which can be very slow, unreliable, and difficult to maintain. So this consequently now leads to decreased productivity and increased downtime in terms of operations. We have a very common threat right now, or challenge, which is cyber security threats. It does not only face non-profits, but also large enterprises. So non-profits, again, are not immune to cyber attacks, and you may be vulnerable due to the IT resources or lack of cybersecurity expertise. Issues like data management. You find most nonprofits are, because of the data you deal with, you deal with high amounts of data, including things like donor information, program data, or financial records. You might be having an issue with technology in terms of being able to store that data and also processing that data to help you work efficiently and effectively. Right now, as it is in the world, and this is post the COVID pandemic, we have so much remote work happening. So most organizations are right now forced to work remotely. I know in Kenya right now, some organizations are going back to work, but if you look at the world right now, I would say 75% of the non-profit organizations are working remotely. So how do organizations make sure that they have the right tools and they have the right infrastructure to be able to work remotely, secure that work, and also collaborate effectively and efficiently? And then again, in terms of collaboration and partnerships, non-profit need to, you'll find that they need to collaborate with other organizations to be able to achieve their goals. So it requires significant time and effort to establish, relationships with other organizations. So you actually need tools, that help you to be able to build these relationships and also maximize on the relationships that you have to be able to meet your organization needs. So all in all, there's growing, right now, there's the growing realization that remote work is here to stay. So organizations actually need to be able to be prepared to actually do remote work in the best way. So all that said, we are now going to be to delve into the cloud, cloud infrastructure, talk about what the cloud is and how now it can help nonprofits to be able to reduce, or rather to be able to achieve all these issues that they want to achieve, while at the same time reducing the risk they have. So we'll jump right straight into it. So I'm going to be defining what the cloud is, and then from there we are going to see some of the benefits of the cloud. So what is this thing we're calling the cloud? I know most of you have heard the term. Some of you may not have heard it, but I'll try to define it or explain it in a way that maybe everybody will be able to understand, not in a technical way. So we all know we have servers. We have servers on your own premises, in your organization office, or wherever you may be. You probably dealt with servers before. So look at cloud as a group of servers that are located in different data centers or in different areas all over the world. So in the context of computing, cloud generally refers to a network of remote servers that is actually hosted on the internet and used to store, manage, and process data rather than using a local server or personal computer. So take a bunch of servers, from organization A, organization B, organization C, and put them into one and make them accessible through the internet, and you have your cloud. So ideally, that's what cloud means. So cloud computing ideally allows you to access data and services remotely from any device connected to the internet without the need for having an on-site hardware or infrastructure. So this includes services like data storage, things like software applications or even virtual computing if you have the capacity. So with cloud computing, you're able to access your data or whichever applications you want to access from whichever location you are, as long as you have the internet. So just to briefly just demystify what cloud computing is. So think about it as like you're renting space in a large warehouse where you can store your belongings, instead of keeping them at home. So the warehouse is actually owned by someone else, but you pay to use the warehouse as needed. So similarly, in the cloud, your data is stored and processed on servers owned by cloud service providers like the likes of Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and all that. And you actually pay for the services you need. So that ideally is the cloud. You don't incur the costs for the servers, you just incur the cost for the services. So this means that, like I said, you can access your data from anywhere, as long as you have internet connection on your device, whether phone, laptop, tablet, or whichever device you're using, including IoT devices, as long as you have the necessary login credentials. So I'm now going to briefly talk about some of the benefits of you as an organization moving to the cloud. Over the last, I think, 5-6 years, the cloud has gained really ground and is actually a widespread word, if you ask me. So with this exponential increase in data that has accompanied society transition into the digital 21st century, it is now becoming more and more difficult for individuals and organizations to keep all this vital information and programs and systems up and running in your in-house computer servers. So you have so much information as an organization that it's actually very difficult to be able to keep it in-house because you're going to incur costs in terms of maintaining that infrastructure. You're making sure your network is up all the time, making sure you have the necessary IT resources to be able to maintain all that data and all those resources and so forth and so forth. So the solution to this problem is one that has been there for quite a while now. Is only that maybe we actually didn't know about it, but has only recently gained widespread application and adoption from different organizations. So for instance, you have employees in your organization, maybe who need to access customer information or ERP through cloud-based software from their smartphones, and can you can actually be able to do this through the internet, cloud-based software, and being hosted by cloud service providers like the likes of Microsoft and Google, and give access to that data to only authorized parties as long as they are anywhere in the world. So most of the time you'll find leaders are organizational leaders or decision makers in organizations are hesitant about committing to cloud computing solutions for their organizations. So I'd like to take a few minutes and just share a few advantages of cloud computing, and hopefully this will change the mindset of you guys, and if you're decision makers, hopefully you'll be able to learn a thing or two. So moving to the cloud ideally can provide you with numerous benefits as a non-profit, including things like cost savings, increased flexibility, scalability, and improved collaboration. So we mentioned about cost savings, reducing infrastructure costs. So you find that nonprofits can actually significantly reduce their IT expenses by moving to the cloud. Yeah? And you can avoid costs associated with purchasing and maintaining your own servers, your own network infrastructure, and only pay for the services that you use. So if you're worried about the price tag that would come in with making the switch to cloud computing, then of course you aren't alone. This is something that is common. But if you are attempting to weigh advantages and disadvantages of using the cloud, you need to consider more factors than just the return on investment. So once you're on the cloud, it is easy to access your organization's data, and this will save you time and money, of course, as you work towards meeting your organization goals. So the cloud has different payment models, and the most common payment model is the pay-as-you-go system, which applies even to data storage spaces, to software as a service, things like your email, your Gmail, your Outlook, and all that. Which means that you are not asked, you're not charged for any space that you don't use, or you're not charged for anything that you don't use. So taken together, you'll find that these factors really result in lower costs and also higher returns for your organizations. For instance, for an organization that runs an annual fundraising event, you might experience some spike in your website during that event. But by using cloud platforms like Amazon, or Microsoft, Google, and all that, you can quickly and easily scale up your website capacity to be able to handle traffic during that particular event when the traffic has spiked. So this means that you don't actually have to pay for extra server capacity all year round, but only during that particular event, right? Another advantage of, or benefit rather, is flexibility, okay? So cloud solutions offer nonprofits with greater flexibility, and so yeah, sorry for that. So cloud tools offer nonprofit with greater flexibility and access to data and applications from anywhere and at any time. So this means that employees, volunteers, and anybody working in your organization can work remotely or in the field to access data in real time, which again now increases your productivity. So your organization has a finite amount of focus to divide between all of its responsibilities. So if your current IT solutions are forcing you to commit too much of your attention to computer and data storage issues, then you are not going to concentrate on reaching your organization goals and satisfying, of course, if customers you have. So by relying on outside organization to take care of all your IT hosting and infrastructure, you'll actually have more time to devote toward the aspects of your organization that directly affect your bottom line. So organizations, so the cloud actually offers organizations with more flexibility overall versus hosting to your local server. So if you need extra bandwidth, cloud-based service can meet that demand instantly, as opposed to actually trying to invest more bandwidth to your infrastructure. So this now gives you freedom and flexibility to be able to steer your organization in terms of ways of work, and also have at least a better performance as you go along, and also in terms of scalability. So cloud-based platforms offer non-profit organizations the ability to scale up and scale down their infrastructure quickly, and of course, depending on their needs. So This means that you may be able to handle, like we said, unexpected spikes in internet traffic in real time. For instance, and again, just to give an example, if you have 10 employees today and you add another 5 tomorrow, you as an organization can use that sort of scalability and capacity by increasing your licensing needs on these cloud service providers like Google and Microsoft with ease. And it's only, you can actually do this with a click of a button. So you can reduce the licenses, you can increase the licenses as you wish. If the licenses are not being used, you can actually decrease them. It's up to you. So it's really easily scalable and a flexible environment to use. And again, also there's the aspect of collaboration that we talked about. So we find that these cloud-based tools make it very easy for organizations to be able to collaborate with their partners and their volunteers, collaborate internally with their internal stakeholders and of course external people. So you will be able to share data and applications in real time, which now increases your things like transparency and also improves your streamlines of work. So for instance, if your organization has 2 or more employees, then you should be making collaboration a priority. So after all, if you have a team, there isn't much need to have a big team if there's no collaboration at all. So cloud computing makes collaboration, the process simple. Teams can be able to view and share information easily and securely access data across the cloud-based platforms. So another thing also is flexibility, and I think I've mostly touched about this. Then we have things like mobility, where people can be able to access cloud computing resources or your platform from any location, as long as they are connected to the internet. And it's actually, now this makes the collaboration work even easier. So if somebody is in Nairobi, another person is in Uganda, Kampala, or Dar es Salaam, it's actually very easy to collaborate on the same documents or the same files because of that mobility that the cloud gives you. However, if you have an on-premises infrastructure and everything you have is stored on premises, then you'll probably now need to think of investing in things like a virtual private network or VPN for you to be able to access the files that are on your server while you are in another country or in another location. So that probably again now brings in the conversation about cost and how and also security, in terms of how do you make sure that there's the connection between your organization and the people working remotely is actually secure. But when you move to the cloud, all these things are actually taken care of. You really don't need to worry about that. You just let the experts worry about security. All you pay for is just the service. Things like quality control. So in a cloud-based environment, all documents will be stored in one place. And if you wish, you could actually put in policies to be able to store them in a single format. So with everybody accessing all this information, the same information, you can maintain a sort of consistency in data, avoiding human errors and also clearing records of any revisions or updates that you do on the files from that data that you store. Another thing is around business continuity and of course disaster recovery. So this is one of the biggest factors that contributes to the success of an organization. All right. So unfortunately, no matter how much in control your organization may be, when it comes to its own processes, there is always that there are always some things that will actually have you out of control. And in today's market, productive downtime can have a horizontally negative, impact. So with the cloud, you don't really need to worry about disaster recovery or business continuity, because all this is covered, or all this is part of the service that you actually pay for, right? So any sort of environmental disaster or man-made disaster that may happen, you will have that capability to be able to restore your data at any given point in time, as long as that data is stored in the cloud. So we have these cloud service providers like Microsoft have data centers spread all over the world. For instance, recently Microsoft came up, or rather developed and opened up a data center in South Africa. They're actually working on one around North Africa right now. So these data centers are spread all over the world to make sure that even if one data center goes down, the other data center picks up, and the information is actually distributed to make sure that there's never going to be any loss of data or any loss of applications or any vital information that you store in the cloud, right? Then there's also the issue of updates. We've all used laptops, we've all used phones, tablets, and all that. You always get those prompts, to be able to update, or rather prompting you to update your software. So it's always good to have updated software, because now this one gives you access to the latest versions and also the more secure versions. So if you're having on-premises software, like, you've installed your Office 2016 or 2019 on your laptop, the next time Office 2022 is released, or 2023 or 2024, you will actually have to go and manually uninstall remove the old Office and install the new software, the new Office. Now, the beauty with the cloud is you actually don't have to do that. This is covered by Microsoft or by even other cloud providers automatically for you. So the cloud-based applications are automatically refreshed and automatically updated, instead of forcing your IT department to go and perform a manual update. So this again now saves you time, money, and outside, and money that you could actually use internally, or getting consultants to actually do this work for you, right? So those are some of the benefits. I know there are so many, I couldn't actually cover them in one sitting, but I just wanted to highlight the most, or rather the common benefits of moving to the cloud. Before now, I can actually move to the common misconceptions. So these are the myths or misconceptions surrounding the cloud. All right. Again, there are so many. I just wanted to highlight the most common ones that people actually perceive. So one of the issues, one of the misconceptions of the cloud is that cloud computing is expensive. On the contrary, cloud services actually save you more money and increase your return on investment. So investing in your on-premises infrastructure can be very expensive. Starting from putting money on your servers, routers, and all that, to employing IT staff, and also things like consultations, licenses, and all that. However, if you move to the cloud, there is no need to actually worry about all these expenses, like your servers, your software, and all that. When you switch to the cloud, all this is taken care of by your cloud service provider. You only need to pay the amount of capacity you use, or for the amount of licenses you use. And just like I mentioned, this is a pay-as-you-go model and nothing else. So you'll be able to scale up or down based on your needs. The cost of the cloud ideally has decreased significantly in the recent years, making it more affordable for organizations of all sizes, whether small, medium, large, or even startups, to be able to afford all this. So in the cloud, cloud computing right now can also help organizations, again, like I mentioned, save money by offering a variety of pricing models to fit the organization's needs and budgets. So another thing also, another misconception is that cloud is not secure, but on the contrary, cloud is even much secure or more compact than your actual existing system as it is right now. So this is a major misconception among many organization leaders and also many organizations out there. And this again has contributed mostly to people not or being reluctant of moving to the cloud. However, how can your data be unsafe when cloud service providers have talented and trained IT professionals who their work is solely to make sure that your data and your applications are safe? So these organizations or cloud service providers invest millions and millions of dollars to their cloud to make sure that the cloud is secure, and they have top of the game cyber threat professionals. So you have your infrastructure right there in your office. You have your one server or two servers. You have maybe your firewalls and all that has been deployed in your organization. It's actually very easy to be compromised with all that you have, as opposed to moving to the cloud, where we have people in the cloud who are actually monitoring these breaches and these cyber threats in real time, and actually being on top of them. So as an organization, your priority should be, I believe should be delivery and delivering on your needs, and also making sure that you have your revenue right, and not actually scratching your head over security of your data centers or your infrastructure, or investing in a big team of security engineers just to make sure that your data is safe. So you may think your data center or your server room in this case is secure, but you've actually start comparing it with other growing enterprise software as a service providers, like the likes of Microsoft. You'll be amazed to see the kind of layers of security that they have. And also hand in hand with security is we have a misconception that the cloud is not reliable enough. So the fact is clouds are actually better backing up their existing systems as opposed to our own infrastructure. So you may feel that your on-premises network infrastructure is reliable enough, but if you migrate to the cloud, your bots will utter different words. So many enterprises struggle to back up their system data correctly, as well as small and medium organizations. And there's always a risk of data loss. So if your power is cut off right now and you had an automated backup, that means that the backup will not happen. If your server, for some reason, because of maybe a disaster or something, crashes, your backup was on that server, that means you don't have access to that server, or to that backup rather. But with the cloud, you actually don't need to think about all that. Everything is backed up regularly, and you always have control over that data. Another misconception is that the cloud will give you limited control, and somebody else will actually have full control over everything. However, the fact is you can control everything you own from where you're located, and even when you are on the go. So this is a severe misconception, again, for a lot of organizations. So most organizations feel like because it is in the cloud, you cannot see your data, and that you may not be able to access it whenever you need. Remember, these organizations or these cloud service providers are guided by data protection laws. They are guided by policies or things like the GDPR, the HIPAA, the ISO certifications and all that. We're guided by things like in Kenya, we're guided by the Kenya Data Protection Law. So all this data that is in the cloud is actually yours. These service providers only act as data processors. You, as the customer, you are the actual data custodian. So you have everything, all your data is in one place and you have full control over it. Other misconception is that it is not suitable for small to medium nonprofits or organization, and that it won't last, the cloud will not last for long. To the contrary, there is always and will be an increased growth in terms of cloud adoption. And the cloud is not just for large-sized enterprises or businesses making a significant investment. It is, you'll actually find that the small and medium organizations have got their foot in as well, and are actually even enjoying the cloud more than the actual large-sized enterprises out there. So migrating to the cloud in general can not only improve your security posture, but can also spark innovation, by providing you access to tools and technology at a fraction of the cost that you trying to build them on your premises. So whether you're a startup looking to scale up quickly, whether you're an established organization with limited IT resources, cloud computing can actually help you reduce these costs, increase your efficiency, and improve your overall competitiveness if you may. So having covered the misconceptions and the benefits and also describing what the cloud is, I'd like now to move our focus to Microsoft Cloud Solutions for nonprofits. And as you may be aware, Microsoft provides nonprofits with a variety of office productivity tools, software, things like Windows operating systems, server software, and discounts on cloud subscriptions. However, today we'll be focusing on the Microsoft Cloud Solutions available through TechSoup for eligible nonprofits, right? So for those who are here last week, or rather in the last webinar, we briefly discussed what are the different license SKUs for nonprofit organizations. So I'd like now to go a bit deeper into just what each SKU or license has to offer. One of the licenses or Microsoft solutions that we offer on the TechSoup platform is the Office 365 Enterprise F3, which is provided at a discounted rate. Now, this F3 license is a cloud-based license, of course, and it is recommended for nonprofits that have volunteers that need to access your organization's data. So look at it as a license that can be used by your front workers, your frontline workers, people who are out there in the field on a day-to-day basis. So you have people out there trying to promote your outreach or doing one or two things for your organization. This is the best license for them. They are on the go. It can be accessed on the mobile phones or any portable device out there. So this one includes, this license gives you the ability to be able to use web-based office applications like the likes of Microsoft Teams, OneDrive, online storage, email, and calendaring services on the go. So for emails, and again, because this is being used by volunteers, you get 2 gigabytes worth of emails per person. You also get 1 terabyte of personal storage, that is OneDrive, and you also get another sort of storage, which we call SharePoint, which is pooled storage for your organization. We don't have a limit in terms of the Enterprise F3 license. You can select or buy as many licenses as you want, and the cost of this license is $2 per user per month. So that is $24 per year to be able to access emails, your OneDrive at one location, your data at one location without downtime, and to be able to join meetings from any location, anywhere, join webinars and all that. So if you ask me, this is actually a good deal for nonprofits. Another solution that TechSoup has to offer in terms of Microsoft Cloud Solutions is the E1 license. That is the enterprise E1 license, which again is also on a discounted model. So this is recommended for medium-sized to large nonprofits that you don't need Office desktop applications. So remember, on your laptop or on your desktop, you have the Office application that is installed. You have your Excel, your Word, your OneNote, your PowerPoint, and all that. This particular license, the Office 365 Enterprise E1, will give you all that capability, however, just on the web. So you'll not be able to download or install these applications on your laptop, but you'll be able to use them on the web as web-based Office applications. So you'll also be able to, access things like Microsoft Teams, your OneDrive storage, which is 1 terabyte. And for this one, you have an increased storage as opposed to F3, which had 2 gigabytes. You have now 50 gigabytes of email. So you have 50 GB to store your email. And again, this is also unlimited. So you don't have the limit in terms of licensing cap. And this one increases price by 50 cents, which now 50 cents, yeah, and becomes $2.50 per user per month. So on top of that, you also get the other tools we talked about last time. And for the new guys, we have tools like the Microsoft Stream, where you can upload your video content. You have the likes of Microsoft Forms, you have the Skype for Business, the Yammer, the Microsoft Teams, the Delve, and all that, all in one, all for $2.50. Then the other license on the Office 365 is the Office 365 Enterprise E3. And this again is recommended for medium-sized to large nonprofits. But now these ones are the nonprofits that actually need to download and install these Office desktop applications on their phones, on their laptops, on their personal desktops, and on any portable device, and also are keen on having advanced compliance and security features. So on the right side here, as you can see, now we've moved from Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and Outlook to also include features like the Microsoft Publisher and Microsoft Access, which ideally is just a database. So this particular SKU offers you the ability to use both the web browser or these cloud applications on the web, as well also as on the desktop, and you have the ability also to be able to install on up to 5 computers. You also get 50 gigabytes of email. You will get 1 terabyte of OneDrive, and it also is unlimited. But however, the cost now here goes up to $5.75 per user per month. Then we move now on the Office 365 Enterprise model. We have the E5, which is the most superior for this one. So this one will give you everything that the Microsoft E3 has, plus additional security, like advanced discovery tools, information protection, compliance solutions, data loss prevention, and also advanced threat protection for your emails. So this is the more superior in terms of the Office 365 SKU, and it goes for $15.75. So this one will give you more security or added capabilities that you can actually configure in terms of security. You will also have the things like e-discovery, where you can, as an administrator, you can search for emails or search for content using e-discovery and use that content or that search, for instance, for legal purposes if you wish. Then we move to the next SKU, which is now the Microsoft Business SKU. And then you have the Microsoft Business Basic on a discounted rate. However, for this business SKU, you are limited to only 300 users, and is ideally recommended for small to mid-sized nonprofits. So this means that for this business basic, you can only get up to 300 licenses, not more than that. You get the 50 gigabytes of email. You also get 1 terabyte of storage. Again, it also comes with some sort of standard security and is costed at $1 per user per month. So this particular SKU, you don't have the ability to download Office applications on your laptop or computer or phone. You actually use again them on the web. The other SKU, which is Microsoft 365 Business Standard, is of course more superior than the Business Basic. It includes all the features of the Business Basic plus additional collaboration and other services. So with now this particular license, you're able to host webinars in Teams, get the attendee registration details, and also get the reporting tools after your webinars. Again, like is standard for Microsoft, you get the 50 gigabytes of email, you get also your 1 terabyte of storage, you get your standard security, and up to 300 users. But then for this particular SKU, you have the ability to download and install applications on your laptop and on your computer and any other portable device you have. So you can actually install on up to 5 devices. So you can download, install your Office and be able to use them. And this one goes for $3 per user per month. Then on the business SKU, the last SKU is the premium SKU. So it has all the business basic and business standard features and services all together, plus advanced security, cyber threat protection, and also advanced device management, which means that you can use it to manage your organization computers or your phones in one place. So historically, we've been having on-premises servers which have the Active Directory and the group policies where you can apply to your laptops and all that. So this one now brings in the power of something called Intune. So Intune is now the cloud mobile device management solution for Microsoft. So for this one, you have a cap of 300 users per organization. And the pricing model for this is a bit different. For the first 10 licenses, you get as an organization, you pay $1 per license. So $1 per user per month. However, for any additional license after that, you pay at $5.50 per user per month. Yeah. So it used to be given for free for the first 10 licenses, but Microsoft recently changed their licensing model, and they are offering it at $1 for the first 10 licenses and $5.50 for the extra licenses. And then finally, we move to the enterprise grade licensing. So this is for organizations that have more than 300 employees or 300 users, and you still want to use your Windows, you still want to use your Office desktop applications and enterprise level security. So this one, again, because it's enterprise level, it has more security features, more capabilities, and also it brings in now the new capability of being able to host up to 1,000 attendees in the webinar. In the webinars, you will also have the ability to be able to activate your Windows. So, for instance, you're using a laptop that is mostly showing you the prompt that your Windows operating system needs activation. You can actually use your Microsoft 365 E3 license to activate your Windows, and also to move from a professional version to an enterprise version. All this is included in this particular package. And now the beauty of this is now you get more email storage, which is 100 gigabytes. But again, the OneDrive remains at 1 terabyte, and there's no licensing cap, right? The cost for this is $9 per user per month. And then finally, this is the most, I would say the most superior license that Microsoft has to offer. which is the Microsoft 365 E3. It has all the features of all these other licenses we've talked about, including the Microsoft E3, and has advanced security and advanced threat protection capability. It also has things like Power BI, which help you visualize your data and your reporting. It has things like Microsoft Teams for phone, which helps you be able to call out and call in or receive calls using the Microsoft Teams application. Again, it gives you 100 gigabytes of email and also 1 terabyte of data. It also doesn't have a license cap at the moment and costs $22.80 per user per month, right? So those are the solutions that Microsoft has to offer in terms of cloud solutions and licensing. Next, we are going to now move to the last bit, which is, how do we now select these solutions for your nonprofit, and how do you access them, these solutions from the TechSoup catalog? So first of all, I just want to briefly go through you as a client or as a nonprofit. What are some of the top considerations that you need to check out for before you can actually choose your cloud service provider? Now, choosing your cloud service provider or CSP is a significant decision for many organizations, and it involves you entrusting a third-party provider out there with critical data and applications from your organization. So some of the considerations you need to make are: one, top of the list is cost. Okay, so the cost of using a cloud service provider will definitely vary, depend on the provider and the services required. So your organization should consider, the pricing model of the provider, whether it is a pay-as-you-go model or a subscription-based model, and whether there are any hidden costs. So always make sure that you read the terms and conditions and also the costing, and also just maybe align it with your budget and see whether there are actually any hidden costs or fees. All these service providers have help desk or have support or have consultants who can help you actually demystify the cost issue. Then there's also the issue of security. So security is a very critical consideration, again, when choosing your CSP. So you should ensure that the provider you choose has robust security measures in place, including physical security, network security, and also encrypting your data while it is in transit. So you don't have a situation whereby you're sending out an email, then that email is actually sent out in plain text, which means that somebody can just intercept and read it. However, if that email is encrypted, as long as that, even if it is intercepted, as long as that person doesn't have the ability or the key to decrypt that email, they're actually not able to read it. So make sure that the security is one of the key consideration that you look into before choosing your service provider. Another thing is reliability. Organizations should make sure that your provider offers a high level of uptime and availability. So this means that they have redundancy measures to make sure that, or rather to minimize the risk of downtime. Support is also another big issue. The level of support provided by the cloud service provider is quite significant when choosing your CSP. So make sure you choose organizations that provide 24-hour support and that have a robust support team in place to respond quickly to any issues or concerns. So this means that you should choose organizations that have presence, 24-hour presence anywhere, or have the sort of service desks that follow the sun. Make sure that even if you call at 3 a.m. at night, somebody is able to pick up and resolve your issue. There's also flexibility and scalability. So your organization or your CSP should be able to offer a range of services that can be customized to suit your specific needs as an organization. You should be also be able to accommodate spikes, like when you have spikes in traffic or usage without any interruption in terms of services. And then also, of course, there is the issue of compliance, where they should be regulated and regulated by certain data protection providers, like GDPR and HIPAA, and should also have measures in place to make sure that they protect your sensitive data. Should also, again, without saying, your provider should be able to integrate with your existing solutions, and also should have a good reputation out there, just to make sure that they have a good track record and that they are reliable. Of course, the data portability part is also important. So you should be able to, organizations should ensure that they can move their data easily from one provider to another if they wish, without experiencing any lock-in or vendor lock-in periods, right? So finally is around performance also. So you should ensure that your infrastructure can deliver the performance and speed required to handle any sort of workloads that you have, right? So now I'm going to walk you through the process of getting non-profit offers from TechSoup. So it's a 4-stage process actually, where you register, TechSoup goes through or validates you, you get a notification, and then you access your products. So before you're able to place any order, you will need to register your organization through TechSoup or TechSoup Kenya or any other TechSoup partner will be able to confirm your organization meets the required eligibility criteria. So the registration process is just a basic process. You fill in a registration form and provide proof that your organization is actually a non-profit. So you'll be asked to provide things like your NGO registration certificate or document, your tax exemption certificate or letter, and stuff like that. So that will be the first step. And I'm going to, in the next slide, I'm going to give you the link for you to be able to register. Once you register, or rather once now TechSoup receives your, you've registered and TechSoup receives your documentation, we'll start something called the eligibility validation. So this one usually takes between 7 and 10 working days for us to be able to verify that you're actually a non-profit. And once that's done, the next step, you'll get a notification, or you'll get a notification on your email. That is the email that you provided when you are registering, with the next steps, or confirming that you're actually eligible for non-profit donations and discounts. So once you receive the notification, the next thing, of course, is to try or rather access the products and services on the TechSoup website. So for you to be able to register for you to be able to register to be validated as a non-profit, you need to fill in something called a TechSoup intake form, and that is the link there. We are going to share also the link with you after the session, so that you can just go and fill it out for those who are new. So the form ideally will capture your organization information, the organization name, the address, and all that. The product that you're interested in, whether it is consulting, whether it is Microsoft products, whether it is implementation of services and all that. And also, of course, your contacts, that is your email address and the phone number. Then once you fill that form out, again, we are going to give you a call or write you an email. This is from the TechSoup partners, just to understand what your needs are. And also, if possible, schedule a free consultation session so that we can advise you on the best solutions that you can take as an organization. So once that's done, once we have a consultation, then the next step, of course, will be the terms of engagement. If there's a quote that we need to share with you in terms of the pricing of the licenses of the solutions, then we're going to share. And then, of course, we get into the terms, the next steps, which is the implementation of the service. And then finally, I just wanted to take a minute just to walk you through the eligibility process. So you've heard me mention about once you register, that request has to go through some eligibility process to validate you as a nonprofit. So what happens is each donor, or each donor partner like Microsoft, Adobe, Google and all that, they have their own eligibility criteria. So how Microsoft will deem you as eligible is not the same way Google or Amazon or Adobe will deem you as eligible. So we have, during the eligibility process, we have to take into consideration all that. And the most important thing that plays a crucial part is your organization type, your budget and mission determines your eligibility. So these are the three main areas: your type of the organization, whether it is things like maybe, for instance, a hospital, whether it is a church, whether it is a community, based organization and something like that. That will actually determine whether you're eligible or not. Your budget, of course, and also your mission on your vision as an organization. And again, I've also mentioned it takes between 7 to 10 business days to be able to qualify you or confirm you as a non-profit, right? So that is usually, we usually take less than 7 days, actually, can be even 2 days, but it can take up to 7 to 10 days, of course, depending on the number of requests that are coming in. Yeah. Finally, as I wind up, I wanted just to share the contact details for TechSoup and also for partner TechSoup, KCDF rather. So that is their email address on their website. If you want to reach us out, just send a request to that email. Somebody will reach out to you immediately. You can also visit the website, which is the TechSoup Kenya website, techsoupkenya.or.ke, or also the TechSoup global website, which is techsoup.org. So I'd like to end my presentation there today, and of course, welcome you for any questions. Try to answer any questions you may have. You may have put on the chat. So I think I'll give it back to S to moderate this part.
Thank you, Alex, for breaking down the topic really well. I've seen a couple of questions coming in through the Q&A. Some have also come in through chats. I've just managed to share them to you. So Maureen Angia is asking, can volume licenses be negotiated for these packages?
Can volume licenses be negotiated for these packages? Unfortunately, no. This is cloud-based, meaning that it is per person, not actually, you cannot get like Microsoft 365 licenses as on volume licensing. Volume licensing ideally would apply to things like your Office standalone solutions, like Office 2019, Office 2021, Office 2016 and all that, or your operating systems. You have 20 or 30 laptops that you want to activate. That's where now maybe volume licensing will come in, where we will actually give you a key, one key that will be able to activate, one product key that will be able to activate all those laptops and computers at a go. So volume licensing doesn't apply to cloud-based subscriptions. It only applies to standalone subscriptions like Office and operating systems. I hope I've been able to answer your question, Maureen.
Maureen, you can let us know if we've answered the question through chats. The next question is from Bahati. He's asking if you can please shed more light between the enterprise and the business packages. It wasn't so clear.
Okay, so just allow me to go back to this slide, and I'll just use this particular SKU, Microsoft Business Premium. So one of the key differences is the licensing, the number of licenses you can take. So for business packages, you can only have up to 300 licenses or 300 users. You cannot have more than that. I mean, Microsoft will actually not give you more than 300 users. And remember, this is not only for non-profits, but also for business or for profit organizations. So you can only have up to 3 licenses. However, for enterprise level licenses like the E3 and the E5, you can have more than that. You are not capped to 300 users, right? Then another thing to add on that is in terms of cybersecurity, the business premium version comes with its own cybersecurity protection or capabilities. However, for the enterprise E3 and E5, you'll find that it has more capabilities. For instance, and I just don't want to be very technical, but for the business premium license, you'll get Azure Active Directory Premium 1 version. Okay, so Premium 1 has specific features, but for the enterprise E3 and E5, you actually get Azure Active Directory Premium 2. Premium 2, of course, is more superior and has more security features and has more capabilities than the business licenses. So if you look at it, and again, sorry, the email storage for business premium or business licenses is 50 gigabytes. However, the storage for emails for the E3 and E5, which are enterprise, is 100 gigabytes. So it's double that. So if you look at it, the enterprise versions are actually meant for very large organizations or people who, or organizations who are in need of security, or security is their first consideration before they can actually select any other product. So they are very sophisticated in terms of the features they have. And ideally, that's why we recommend them for large organizations, not for small to medium organizations. I hope, Bahati, I've been able to answer your question. But I'm also happy to clarify more on that.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Faith To has a question. Any packages for organizations that need to just use Azure AD?
Right. Thank you, Faith. So Azure AD is given or is available for all licensing SKUs. Okay. So whether you are using business basic, business standard, business premium, you're using enterprise level, you'll still have Azure Active Directory. Okay. So now, again, with each and every SKU, you'll have different, I would say, levels of Azure Active Directory. So there's the Azure Active Directory free. So this is the free plan, and it is available on the likes of Office 365 F3, E1, and Business Basic. So that is the free version. Then you get the Azure Active Directory Premium, which is Azure Active Directory Premium P1. So P1 now is from the levels of Microsoft Business Standard, Microsoft Business Premium, and above. But then also you also get Azure Active Directory Premium P2. P2 is now from the likes of the enterprise licenses, the E3s and the E5. Of course, all these 3 SKUs, they all have Azure Active Directory, because Azure Active Directory is just meant to be able to authenticate store users and authenticate users. So it is available on all SKUs. However, it differs as you go up the ladder. So whatever you get for Business Basic is not the same Azure Active Directory you get for E3 in terms of features. The concept might be the same, the framework is the same and everything, but the features differ as you go up the ladder. Right? So if there's any specific AD package or package just to give you Active Directory, it is actually, there's no specific package. It is available on all packages. It just differs with the level, or rather, it differs with the features that you have as you go up the ladder or down the ladder. Right. I hope I've been able to answer that, Faith.
Okay. So we have a question from Ezra. Just before Ezra, we probably give you a chance to ask your question. Kindly just touch on a question that has been asked by Peter, who would like to know, who'd like you to touch on infrastructure as a service, like the EC2 instances. How can they be accessed?
All right. So I will speak this from a Microsoft perspective. Yeah? So Microsoft doesn't have EC2 instances. These are specifically available on Amazon Web Services. However, Microsoft does have the infrastructure as a service feature or solution that is available on Azure, the Azure cloud. So there's a difference between Azure Active Directory and the Azure cloud. So the Azure cloud is where you can spin up your virtual machines. You can have your infrastructure as a code. You can have your application services running and all that. So that is on Azure. So it has Azure Active Directory, rather Azure cloud has the capability for you to be able to spin up storage solutions similar to what EC2 instances are, where you can have your storage databases. You can have, and it has the capability to not only handle SQL databases, but also other databases like the likes of MariaDB and all that, Postgres and all that. So the most important thing to note here is for non-profits, Azure offers, I would say not really a discount, but a grant of $3,500 per user, per year rather, not per user, per year. So that means if you register as a non-profit on Azure Cloud, you get to be able to use $3,500 in a year to pay for your pay-as-you-go model, okay? So this one doesn't apply to the Microsoft licenses we just talked about today. No, it only applies to the cloud resources that you've spun up, you know, your virtual machines, your storage accounts, your virtual networks and private network on the cloud. So that is where Microsoft comes in to be able to cushion organization, because the pay-as-you-go model for, you know, for these cloud solutions, especially the ones that are on things like GCP and Azure and Amazon, are quite expensive. So Microsoft will give you the $3,500 US credit to be able to cushion you from that cost. So yeah, infrastructure as a service, it's there on Azure. You can spin up all these resources and workloads there, including hosting your, you know, your website on Azure rather, and exposing it to the public. So all this is available. I hope I've been able to answer your question, Peter. But again, I would also be willing to just have a discussion with you just to understand what you would need, you know, to be able to spin up your instances on Azure Cloud.
Alex, probably the last question. We have Ezra Omoke, who's raised up his hand. Ezra, kindly go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay. My name is Francis. This is not Ezra, but this is Francis. I work with Ezra. Ezra has been up and down as doing some other duties. So the beauty of this presentation that you have done today is that you have hosted us for graffiti, Beat Defender Graffiti Zone. And so far, we appreciate, we have not had any problems so far. But my concern to you, Alex, is that we all know that this country faces a lot of problems in the Kenya power. So power is an issue in this country. I don't know if you have a backup plan for power just in case that you're hosting cloud business and the power becomes a challenge on your side. Yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
All right. So for these cloud solutions, we actually don't host them internally. They are hosted mostly by the cloud service providers. Case in point, like you mentioned about the solution you're using. We only come into sort of resell, I would say, in quotes, or provide you as a non-profit with that solution. So we'll interface between you and the manufacturer or the CSP rather, and try to offer you a non-profit rate. So in terms of power backups, I don't think you actually need to, or maybe I just didn't understand the question, but I don't think you need to worry about losing any backups or anything like that, because these service providers usually have all this data backed up across their different data centers. So if I also got you correct, you wanted also to understand whether we have backup solutions that, for non-profits. At this point, we don't have a power backup solution for non-profits. We're only working with the licensing bit, the cloud-based solutions and software. So at the moment, we are not doing hardware, but this is something maybe in the future we'll do. So just keep connecting with TechSoup for updates around that. I hope I've been able to capture your question, Ezra. And if not, please feel free to ask again or clarify. Right. Okay, thank you. So I think at this point, I'll like to hand it over back to Boniface to guide us on the next steps. So thank you all for listening to me, and I hope you've learned something today. Back to you, Boniface. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Alex. That was quite profound. I mean, you just do it so easily, and we all think it's easy as you put it. But yeah, it's actually possible. Thank you so much for that great presentation and for adequately responding to our questions. And thank you also so much to our audiences for keeping this conversation going, engaging, asking questions, and so forth. So we've come to the tail end of our presentation today, as at 10:40. But just before we go, allow us just to pick some feedback, and then we shall close. So please take out your mobile phone. I'm giving you the instructions. Just go to www.menti.com. Let me just share that on our screen. Just to give us your feedback, go to www.menti.com. Just go to www.menti.com on your phone, and when it asks for a code, use the code on your screen that is 193796. 74. That is 19379674, and that code is on your chat. Sarah is helping me put that up. Just go to www.menti.com, and then you'll be able to put that. That is 19379674, and then you will see that question in one word. Please describe today's session. Just your experience, how you felt. Thank you. I can see somebody has already shared about new opportunities in one word. Just give us your feedback. How would you describe today's training session? Thank you so much to people. Go to www.menti.com and then put that code 19379674. Just give us your feedback. Thank you for those who are sharing informative, insightful, somebody said it was great, it was an eye-opener, it was interesting. Yeah, just give us your feedback, please. We really appreciate. Go to www.menti.com, put that code 19379674. It's on your chat and it's on your screen. Give us your feedback in one word, how you found today's training session. I can see you are 5 of us. Can we just add some more, please? And then we'll be more than glad just to receive that feedback. Please give us your feedback if you really thank you. Somebody says it was clear and precise. Thank you very much. Somebody says it was insightful. Excellent. Just give us your feedback on menti.com. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much for those giving us feedback on today's session. Let me move on to the next slide, which is the last one. Excellent. What topics would you recommend to us for your future training sessions? Just give us what topics do you want us to train in the coming days, in future? We'll be more than glad to hear. This will help us just to improve on our training modules and even preparing our content for you. I understand and I believe you guys represent your nonprofits, your organizations, and to the best interest of the organizations. You'd really love to know, the new things you'd like to learn. So please tell us the topics you recommend to us in our future training sessions. Again, it's menti.com using the same code 19379674. I cannot see anybody sharing a feedback. Please give us feedback. What would you like us to teach you in the future training sessions? 2 or 3 will be quite enough for us. Let me just see. Yeah, excellent. Somebody says security. Another one says power apps. Excellent. Maybe 2 last ones. Things that you'd like us to just, put together in our future training sessions. Will be more than glad. Thank you. Backup solutions, cyber security, ransomware attacks. Quite interesting. These are things that we're facing in our everyday, activities on tech and online. Yeah, disaster recovery. Interesting. Yeah, and of course, somebody says cyber security. Excellent. Backup solutions. More about Microsoft 365. Excellent. 6 of us have given us feedback. Thank you so much. Keep the conversation going. Thank you so much for us who did this and attended this. I'll hand it over back to Sarah to do just the thank you note. And for me, is just to say thank you to everyone for giving us your feedback. We really appreciate. Sarah will tell us about the next session and when we are going to meet again. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Boniface. Thank you, Alex. I want to thank all of you for joining us for this webinar, Microsoft Cloud Subscriptions for Your Nonprofits, which has been brought to you by TechSoup. We hope that you have found the session informative and even helpful in providing you with a deeper understanding of how the cloud works, its benefits, and the range of solutions that are available for nonprofits through TechSoup. And we want to encourage you to keep updated, like following our pages, and you get to know the kind of programs, the kind of trainings, the kind of webinars, the kind of offerings that we have. And a good way to do that is by following our platforms. I've also seen a question that has been popular on the chats is, can you share the presentation? Yes, we will. We will share a recording of this presentation to each and everyone who attended this session via your email. So just be patient. We'll share it sometime next week and you will be able to get it, and you can share it with other people in your organization to just get to know how it went down in this webinar. And also, if you're not a member of TechSoup, we encourage you to register and become a member of TechSoup and just get to know the kind of discounted and donated solutions that we have for nonprofits in terms of tech. And before I bring to you or tell you about the next webinar that we have, I just want to say thank you in a special way to Alex, who has led us through this session. Thank you, Alex, so much. You have done a good job. We have learned, we have known all the solutions that are available for Microsoft for nonprofits. And we just want to appreciate you for taking your time to take us through this webinar. I also want to thank in a special way Boniface and Hosea, who are my colleagues. They have worked tirelessly around the corner to just make this possible. So thank you so much. And to you who joined this session, it wouldn't have been productive. It wouldn't have been what it is if you hadn't joined. So thank you so much for joining. And now let me tell you about the upcoming webinar, even as Boniface shares the screen on our upcoming webinar. So we have an upcoming webinar on the 26th of May. This will be the last webinar to end our Microsoft 365 solutions trainings and webinars that we have had. We will be talking about how cloud impacts the way nonprofits work. So in this webinar, we are going to learn and to gain insights on cloud computing options that are suitable for your nonprofit organization. So we will understand and analyze the benefits and the features of these cloud-based products. We will see how it has impacted nonprofits' work and how you can access them as well through TechSoup's cloud-based products. And we will show you all of that. And we'll also just get to hear something small from the few people who benefited through the TechSoup program. So we encourage you to join us for that. My colleague Hosea is sharing the registration link for you to join us on the 26th of May to also be part of this webinar. So with that said, thank you so much for joining this session, and we look forward to seeing all of you and even many more for the upcoming webinar. Please feel free to just share this with other partners in your reach. Just let them know we have this webinar and how it could also impact them. You can share the link with them so that they can also be able to join us. From our end, we want to say thank you and have a wonderful afternoon.